Good morning, Mr. Dauda. All right, so today is Wednesday, the 26th of November, 2025. The year is gradually, it's really running to an end. Morning, Madam Monaji. Yeah, I'm back. Some were chatting me, to know I've not been around for a while. I've been on leave, just resuming today. Good
You are
morning.
welcome, sir. You
Thank
are
you, ma.
welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Good
ma.
morning, sir. You're welcome.
Good
Thank
morning.
you.
Thank you. Oladele Esther, good morning. Dennis, good morning. Jonathan, good morning. All right, so let's get into the analysis this morning. There was a news from New Zealand in the course of the night. That's between, in fact, Australia had CPI 1:30 a.m. and it came out good for the AUD, while for NZD 2 a.m. The data came out actual equal to forecast. But despite that, there's been a lot of reaction on both the AUD and the NZD pairs. Good morning, Mr. Michael. Okay, and Mr. Biodun. Good morning to you, sir. All right, so we'll look at the events that are still upcoming today. 10 a.m. there'll be ECB financial stability review from the Eurozone. It's an event without any data, no previous, no forecast or actual expected, but then it might still have its impact upon the market. So we have to be cautious around the Euro pairs. And later today by 1:30 p.m. there'll be autumn forecast statement from the United Kingdom. Also, this this event comes without any previous or forecast data. But then by 2:30 p.m., there'll be unemployment claims, core durable good orders. These are expected to have its impact upon the US dollar. So we're going to be looking at the dollar index and our expectation for this particular news event. And later today by 6 p.m., there'll be ECB President Lagarde's speech, which will come up by 6 from the Eurozone. And later tonight, now all the other events, they are not really for day traders. So let's just focus on the ones that will happen during the day trading session, which is the 2:30 p.m. So we just put our attention on the American dollar. All right, so I'll flip over to the chart now. We'll look at what to expect in the market today. All right, so this is the dollar index. Yeah, I've not been around officially, but then as usual, as an analyst, I'm always checking the charts. For my weekly outlook on the dollar, I anticipated a bearish movement on the dollar for this week, and that's largely due to the fact that the market closed last week with price hitting this resistance level on the weekly time frame, and the same is reflected on the daily. So that's the weekly, this is the daily version to it. And we've seen the market go in the last couple of days in the bearish direction. Now, what I'm anticipating is a free fall of the dollar for the week. All right. But then at the same time, price currently is at a critical point where it's also aligning with, you know, higher lows where it's possible we may experience some retracement. So this can be a bit dicey. The data today, which we're expecting in the afternoon, if it all comes out good for the dollar, we may experience a retracement in the short term. Price may retrace back to either resistance and possibly later fall, you know. But then if it comes out bad, the bad for the dollar will, align with the long-term view of the dollar, which is a bearish one. So market could go either ways, based on what I'm seeing from the technicals. If it comes out good, it's going to be a short-term bullish movement. If it comes out bad, that will be the longer term bearish movement. So I want us to take note of this as we trade on the dollar for today. Market could go either ways. We're not having one particular direction. It depends on the outcome, especially the outcome of the three. We're having three news events in the afternoon. I think three or four. Let me confirm again. Yeah, we're having three events: unemployment claims, core durable good orders. So the overall outcome of those events, if it comes out all good, we'll have some retracement on the dollar to hit the resistance. And eventually, I still believe we could have a downward movement. But on the other hand, if the data comes out bad, that supports the overall outlook, and we should expect a massive bearish movement. So I want us to trade the dollar with a lot of caution as we anticipate the release of that data. And that is also reflected on what I'm seeing on the USD JPY. Earlier in the beginning of the week, also, I had a bearish outlook on the USD JPY. Price has moved in that direction, up till now. But then it's also trading around this, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and it's also looking like we may expect some bullish movement before we eventually see the bearish movement. So what I just said for the US DX, which is the dollar index, is applicable for the USD JPY likewise. If the data comes out all good, we will see USD JPY jump up, possibly to hit this resistance. Though overall is bearish, but then we might have a short-term bullish movement on the USD JPY before that bearish movement. So if the data comes out good, you are free to take a buy on the USD JPY. Just make sure you don't stay too long, maybe some 10, 20 pips, because we don't know at what point the reversal could happen. And if on the other hand also the data comes out bad and price breaks below this level here, even if it's either from the news or technicals later on, if price breaks below this low, you can't at the same time also trigger. I said the only thing is don't take a buy and sell at the same time. Watch out for the market reaction before you take a trade. So we are short-term bullish on the USD JPY and we are long-term bearish on the USD JPY. Same thing applies to the USD CHF. All right, for gold, this is my outlook on gold. Somebody is asking already in the comment section about gold. Now, gold is forming a symmetrical triangle and price is hitting the trend line of that symmetrical triangle as we speak. Now, if there is no geopolitical tension that could affect gold or any other major fundamentals that could affect gold, gold may just, move more based on the technicals. On the technicals, we are seeing a symmetrical triangle. If price breaks out upwards, we'll see some buying opportunity, or if it breaks out downwards, we'll see some selling opportunity. But currently, it's just testing the trend line of the symmetrical triangle. Now, since it's a 4-hour time frame setup, I will not ignore the fact that we have some support there, which also is turning resistance at this other side. So it's possible that we'll look out for some minor bearish movement on gold. But then all this movement is going to be based eventually on the outcome of the news from United States in the afternoon, except if some movement happens before then, technically, which is possible. If the technical works out, price might break out below this rising wedge pattern that I just drew. And it's also possible. Now, currently it's looking like a double top, but then I believe there could be some retracement. If price retraces back to hit the trend line up there and forms a triple top, not necessarily a head and shoulder, a triple top, and it's trying to make its way downwards at the break of this neckline region, you may trigger an early entry or just a scalp on gold, and that can give you some close to some between 30 to 50 pips thereabout. So I will advise you watch gold closely. But if price breaks out below the lower trend line, yes, we'll have a more massive free fall in the bearish direction. But like I said, you still need to be cautious in the afternoon when the news from the United States will be released. But before then, we're expecting some bearish movement on gold. All things are being equal. Though at the same time, gold is still trading also at a critical level where if the volatility shifts to the other side, we may experience some bullish movements and price may hit the upward resistance over there. There's a resistance on the daily time frame and eventually still come down. See, market is not giving one direction, especially with anything that is dollar related as at this morning. So we have to trade with a lot of caution. Trade with a lot of caution. This is what I'm saying for gold. It's possible price may break out to the upside here, hit the daily resistance before dropping, or from the region I just showed you on 15 minutes, we may expect a drop. You can see it's already retracing. It may go back to hit here, and if it's coming downwards, if it breaks the neckline, just trigger some 30-50 pips and you're out. So it all depends on where the breakout happens. So watch gold very closely today. Okay, I think I've given my view for the dollar pairs, so let's just move on to other instruments. I'll be looking at the Euro AUD. My personal outlook of this instrument at the beginning of the week, I held a bearish outlook, and everything is working out as planned. I have a resistance here, a rising wedge, and a descending trend line. Now this gives a confluence. All right, so we have a new candle breakout below the recent low. There's a support, a minor support here, which I will want price to break clearly below. All right, so if price breaks out below this minor support and a new candle opens below it, you can trigger a sell on Euro AUD, and that'll be in the next 4 hours. That's by 10 a.m. this morning. Watch out for Euro AUD on the 4 hour time frame. If a new candle makes its way below this recent low, then I'm expecting a free fall of Euro AUD. It's going to be swing, so it's to be taken only if you're a swing trader, or if you're not a swing trader, you want to take it. Make sure no matter the account you're using, don't go above 0.01 lot. So I'm expecting a further bearish movement on the Euro AED. RSI is already below 50. If the breakout happens, MACD may likely cross below, may be at zero or cross below zero, which is still an indication of a strong bearish movement. So I'm bearish on the Euro AUD, and I tell you, this is one of my high probability setup for today. For others, I've been saying in between, but this one is clear cut. We're having a bearish breakout. Only we need a new candle to break out below the current support on the 4 hour time frame. All right, I think I'll stop right here. So my key analysis today is this Euro AUD. For the dollar related, it can be either ways depending on the market condition and the outcome of the news we expect in the afternoon. Okay, if you have any question for me, you have a particular instrument of interest you want me to analyze, you can just drop it in the comment section, and we'll do that quickly. Okay, I think I just remembered one. I'm also looking at the Euro JPY, but again, it's on 4 hour. You see, you only trade what the market is giving. From my earlier analysis of the Euro JPY at the beginning of the week, I think price was trading around the psychological level at 181, 182.000. All right. So the market closed last week with a rejection candle on the weekly time frame, touching that psychological level. Now, the psychological level is acting as a resistance. So technically, I'm expecting a downward movement on the Euro JPY. Now, on the daily time frame, I can see clearly my analysis is forming a head and shoulder, which may lead to a bearish breakout. And taking it down to 4-hour time frame, we still have the shoulder, the head, this region, the second shoulder. The next wave of movement is expected to be a bearish breakout. So this is the neckline region. So if you're there, you can watch this closely also. Now, price is approaching resistance on the 4-hour time frame. So if it makes its way below the trend line, then we're expecting a very massive bearish breakout on the Euro JPY. Confirmation RSI below 50, MACD below 0. So we have a bearish setup forming on the Euro JPY. And that's quite shows the overall direction of the euro, because we saw the euro AUD is bearish, the euro JPY also is looking bearish. That tells you there is a form of weakness generally across the euro pairs. All right, ETL, ETIM, GBP NZD, I'll check that now. Mr. Dowda, GBP USD, I'll check that. Olivia Akman, good morning, sir. Do you do this every day? Of course, yes, we do this every day. You're new. Welcome on board. I don't know if you're yet a client with PU Prime. If you're not, you can reach out to me. I'll guide you on how to get started. You need to get registered and also have a verified account. And most importantly, fund your account to start trading with PU Prime. We have a whole lot of educational programs to help you get grounded in forex trading. No other broker does it better like PU Prime. I can tell you that. So you can reach out privately to me. I'll guide you on how to fully get started with PU Prime. That's for Olivia Akman. All right, so I'll check the GBP USD and the GBP NZD. Now this is the GBP USD. Let's start from the weekly time frame. We'll do what is called top-down analysis. We'll go from the higher time frame to the lower time frame. Okay, so let's start from the daily. Now, from the daily time frame, I'm seeing a double bottom pattern forming here, which price currently is trading around the neckline region. And that area is equally a key level of because of the previous support, which has turned resistance. So it's a very strong level. One of two things will happen around this region. If price breaks out above the neckline region, then we're going to have a long-term bullish movement on the GBP USD. However, if the volatility is not strong enough to make price break up above the neckline, because it's a key level, we may also experience some retracement. So we are looking out for a possible short-term sell and a longer-term buy, and that's still telling us that the dollar is still unstable. Like I said earlier, for the dollar, I said we're looking for a short-term buy and a long-term sell. So for the GBP USD, it's also going to be a short-term sell and possibly a long-term buy. But the news in the afternoon will give clarity as to which direction the dollar will take eventually. So if the data in the afternoon comes out good for the dollar, we may experience some short-term bearish movement on the GBP USD. And if it comes out bad, then if the volatility is strong enough, price may break above the neckline and we may see a buy. So for GBP USD, still also between a sell and a buy, just like we have for the dollar. And GBP NZD, I've been monitoring this instrument for quite some time, and I think it's going according to plan. I've had an overall bearish outlook on it for some weeks now. So price has been making a series of higher highs, higher low, higher low. And yesterday market closed as a rejection candle on the resistance level. And coupled with the news that came out from the NZD, that's New Zealand last night, where actual came out equal to the forecast, that led to a massive bearish movement on the NZD, GBP NZD. Now the question is will it continue to sell? To be honest, I can't guarantee that because price has already done some. Let's check. Price has moved to the tune of 237 pips between last night and this morning. That's less than the last 10 hours, very much less than 10 hours. But then what I know could happen is this. If price approaches this support zone, which is possible, maybe it might get there today. If price hits that support, we may experience some reversal. We may see a retracement back to the upside, or price may break that and hit the trend line. Why will price break that? Because on a bigger picture, this is also looking like it's forming a double top. So whoever is asking about this instrument, you need to treat it with a lot of caution. In fact, I would say to be on the safe side, rather wait for price to break out below that support, which is like a neckline. Yeah, that one has a higher certainty that you may experience a sell. It may not happen today, but whenever price breaks out below that neckline, it's more I don't use the word guaranteed, but there's a higher probability you may expect a sell on the GBP NZD. But for now, please trade it with a lot of caution. If you are not on a trade, I will advise just stay out. Wait for that clear breakout. All right, that will be all from my end this morning. I've analyzed a couple of instruments. My key analysis today is the Euro AUD 4 hour on which we're bearish. You're welcome, sir. That's Mr. Ethel FM. We're bearish on the Euro AUD and we're bearish on the Euro JPY on 4 hour. With the dollar, please treat with a lot of caution. Clarity will come after the news is released in the afternoon. Okay, Miss Ethel, thanks for the correction. For GBP USD, is on a key level. It could either buy or sell depending on the outcome of the news in the afternoon. That's for Dauda. Generally, market is not too clear around the major currencies, around the dollar-related pairs. So, but the ones I mentioned, the Euro AUD and the Euro JPY, those ones have a high probability of going in the bearish direction. All right, that'll be the end of the analysis for this morning. Just watch out in your groups. I'll drop the link. You can watch the video again to get clearer insights. And don't forget to join us by 12:30 p.m. this afternoon for the afternoon analysis session. All right, so I'll sign out here. Take care and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir. We are very grateful.